respect in sprint car racing is one of the things that is earned. I think the fact that drivers slide down between the frame rails, they get a certain degree of respect. And then I think as they go over the course of their lives, of their times, of their careers, and how they handle things, I think various drivers earn various levels of respect. What brings this to mind is earlier this week, we did a television program that'll be aired this weekend with Jacob Allen. And you know the story. Jacob Allen picked up his career first win, and the outpouring of support, encouragement, and really the outpouring of respect was something that we all noticed, and Jacob noticed it well, and Ashley Strummy, my co-host on that program, she actually asked him about it. So I've had this respect on my mind, and then when we think about today, well, there is nobody in the industry over the course of his career that has earned more respect than Paul McMahon. So we were talking about it earlier this week and said, let's dial up Paul and just talk about the state of sprint car racing. And then earlier this week, Paul unveils that he is among the silly season participants this year, looking for a ride after him and Tom Book have parted ways. So even more reason to chat with one of our favorites, Paul McMahon. So that is who we will talk to, or he is who we will talk to this week here on our podcast. Always love getting the perspective of Paul McMahon. So looking forward to a great conversation with him. Always looking forward to great racing action, and boy, they had it this past Saturday night in California. The NARC King of the West. It was the Maury Williams Legends Tribute Race at Keller Auto Speedway. Final lap of Twin 20 number 1. Mitchell Facinto is the race leader. Kyle Hurst is chasing him down, and well, he caught him, as told by Flow Racing's Bobby Jarrell.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
At the white flag, they race into turn number 1. Facinto getting away from Hurst down the back straightaway. Mitchell Facinto switch grooves. AJ Bender is off the pace and into the infield. We're clean to run to the checkered flag. Off of turn number 4, Kyle Hurst jumps up over the 37 and gets it done with an amazing feature event win here in the first 20.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official DEF of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Pride. Passion.
Performance.
We are.
We are.
We are Team Dryden.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers, whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Wing Nation, presented by Dryden, by DRF Racing Oil, and by Hercules Tires. We're going to the Sage Fruit Hotline. And as I set up in the opening segment of this, always love getting the perspective of Paul McMahon. And then after we had him booked, we found out he's part of silly season as well. So joining us from out in the middle part of Tennessee is Paul McMahon. Hello, Paul. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show today, guys.
Man, always great to chat with you. And I wanted to get your perspective on a lot of more big picture and seasonal things. But then earlier this week, you unveiled that you have found yourself in the middle of silly season as well. The decision, the process, and getting to where you're at now with you and Tom going in different directions. How do we get here, Paul?
It's just a bit, it's part of the business the way it is now. Tom couldn't afford to keep doing it on his own. Sponsors aren't knocking down doors to put their name on sprint cars to go dirt track racing, and there's people out there that are offering up, money and other things to come drive other people's race cars, and for Tom, that's if he wanted to keep racing, he needed to do something like that. So, we talked about it, several times over the past few years. That's what it's coming to, and that's what killed, we need to work for him to in that direction. I just didn't know it was going to come this soon. But it's just the way the business is right now.
Yeah, it really truly is. And so you find yourself ride hunting and going forward with that. And we'll chat a little bit about that. But you've kind of really jumped right into what I kind of wanted to dial you up and talk about is, Paul, you're a guy that's been around this for a long time. You ran this year with the All-Stars, but you go race with the World of Outlaws. You've been to Pennsylvania, you've been to Knoxville. You're from California, so you have such a good foundation and understanding of the sport. I'm going to start with a very open-ended question and just kind of see where you go with it and just your thoughts on it. And the question is, where are we at with 410 sprint car racing as we sit here in October of 2020?
I mean, it's hard to say where we're going right now with the way the pandemic was this year.
Yep.
You look at the car counts; they're going up. We've got a lot of race cars across the country with 410 racing. They're starting to pay more money. We got a lot more with Dirt Vision and Flow Racing. We got a lot of TV exposure now. So I believe racing is going in the right direction as long as, we don't, tracks and promoters and owners and drivers don't get too greedy and let it build itself up.
So you're this patient, steady growth, and again, this year maybe the anomaly with all of it, but we're headed in a pretty good trajectory then.
I believe so. I mean, like I said, just looking at the car count, looking at, I don't get the numbers on Flow Racing or Dirt Vision of how many people watch, but there was so many people just thriving, for racing this year that it really opened the doors up for Dirt Vision and Flow Racing to get their deal going. And now everybody understands it and sees what kind of a great deal it is, where they can't be at a race and they can just get on their computer at home and watch a race from. Heck, I'm here at work and we got the TV. I got Flow Racing on right now, watching a race from Placerville that was over the weekend. It's just such a great thing to have. And as a fan, I don't think there's any fan out there that complaining, besides every once in a while you get a glitch in the internet. But I think it's awesome what they're doing, and I think it's going to open a lot of doors here in the near future.
I could not. As a guy that was grounded much of this season or busy working NASCAR racing, the pay-per-view movement was spectacular because I probably have seen more sprint car racing this year than I ever have. And I think this is neat. And we talk about Flow with the All-Stars or some of their big events and even World of Outlaws with Dirt Vision. But I would find myself watching Marysville on a Wednesday night. I think there's even been a spot at the table for some of the smaller tracks that are running 360s or similar situation like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was nice for me, like say last year, before Flow took over, we had Speed Shift, and I'd get done racing, turn on Speed Shift, and be able to watch my brother race in Placerville Speedway in California on my drive to the next race that I'm going to. So it was always cool. I mean, you can watch. There's a race on somewhere. It seems like almost daily on one of them. They're them. I don't even know what they call them. Whatever this live streaming event.
Yeah.
There's always something going on, and they're from different parts of the country and different types of racing. So if you're a race fan and just want to watch a race, you can just tune it in and watch a race. I mean, it's great. Like I said, I'm here at work and got Flow Racing on in the background and get to watch replays of last week's racing.
I love it. I'm with you on that. That's for sure. You mentioned something, Paul, though, in your discussion with Tom and you going in opposite directions, that the money, the team owner side of it, drivers bringing revenue to it. From the team owner's perspective, and I know we're talking about Tom there, but maybe bigger picture, where are the team owners in this model, and is there things, where are we at with the team ownership?
Well, I mean, it's not just in dirt track racing. It's across the board in auto racing. I mean, NASCAR, you got to bring money.
Yep.
No matter what type of racing you're doing, you got to bring money. There's no owners out there that just hire drivers like we did 20 years ago. I mean, I'm the old school guy that you brought your helmet bag, your seat, your steering wheel. You climbed in the car and you went racing. And at the end of the day, if you didn't get the job done, you got fired, moved on to the next one. But the only bad side of this, where people come in, is now owners are kind of stuck with a driver. If things don't mesh, you're kind of stuck, because they paid you. You're at least stuck for 1 year, which is a good thing for some, for drivers, but it could be a bad thing for some owners at the same time. But it's just it's the way the world. It's the business model. I think a lot of race teams are going in that direction because there's a lot more drivers out there than there are owners. So if you can bring X amount of dollars or motors or whatever to a team, it's basically just a sponsorship, and that's what you need to go racing.
Yeah, I'm friends with Kenny Wallace on the NASCAR side, and Kenny retired as a NASCAR driver and went dirt track racing. And the reason he retired is not because he was sick of racing, but because he was sick of selling sponsorship his whole life. And that's what he was. He was a traveling salesman, for Pete's sake, just trying to fund these race teams. So there's a lot of work that goes into that, and some of these kids are doing a wonderful job with it. And to that they go and do that. So Paul, you as a middle-aged driver, you say you're an old school driver, but do you try to round up? Do you have some assets that you can bring to the table?
I have, product sponsors. I don't have anybody that comes out and has an actual cash sponsor for me.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at the salesman's part of things. I've never had to be. Like I said, back in my day and age is when we raced, we didn't have the internet, and then that's what helping a lot of these kids nowadays is social media and this other stuff. Is people know who these kids are before they actually even get into a race car, before they actually become a professional race car driver. They're talking kids in quarter midgets and micros and just working their way up. But they have all this notoriety going out across the country with Flow Racing, with Dirt Vision, with Twitter, Facebook, whatever else social media they got nowadays that I can't keep up with. People know about you way before you even do anything. I mean, back when I raced, when I was 16, 17 years old, if I got my name in Racing Wheels, which was the newspaper out in California, that's the only way you got any press. You didn't. Some of the ones that race in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, or Lawrenceburg, Indiana tomorrow night, about it in 15 minutes. Back in my day, it took you a week and hopefully you had big enough headline or a picture in Speed Sport Racing Wheels that you got notarized.
Boy, that is so true. So fascinating and so true. Paul McMahon joining us, just kind of kicking around the world of sprint car racing now. Paul, driving-wise, racing-wise, is it similar as it's always been? Is it more aggressive? Are the rules of the game different as a driver than they used to be? Is it situational? Has that changed, or is it still pretty much the same in sprint car racing?
Oh, it's changed over the years. Back in the day, kids are more aggressive. There's some that don't have respect for the race cars or others, and nowadays is, back when I was a kid, when I screwed up and you got punched in the mouth, and now you don't. Now you can't. And I think a lot of these younger people or some of these people don't have respect for others, and they drive a little more aggressive, which is all fine and well. We all race hard and aggressive, but sometimes when it happens over and over, you need to get punched in the mouth, and you just can't do that no more.
Yeah, I think that's not a sprint car thing. That's a societal thing, actually.
That's the world thing right now. That's the way the world is. Now everybody's tough and says things, and but they don't want to get they don't have to get the repercussions of opening their mouth.
Yeah. Speaking of opening your mouth, or opening your Twitter machine, okay? And I guess is your Twitter has been hacked. So you were selling Bitcoin the last I knew.
Still am.
Still okay. Well, I hope it's going well for you. Hey, maybe that's your funding for the new ride. Maybe they're
There we go.
Yeah, take a negative situation. But a couple of weeks ago, I had a great conversation down here in North Carolina with oh my gosh, I'm having total brain fade, okay? But the conversation was about jumping into a Twitter war, okay? And Mike Hass had asked about belts and red flags and this, that, and the other thing. Paul, the discussion I thought was great. Ultimately, you end up with a few knuckleheads get in there that probably never strapped into a race car offering it up. But the decision to have that open dialogue, what do you sit there and say, oh, do I hit send? Do I not hit send? What goes through your mind when you have something like that may stir the pot a little bit?
I mean, the conversation you're talking about with Mike Hess, he asked the question. I just answer with my honest opinion.
Yeah.
It was just my opinion. And then, the keyboard commandos that get going on Twitter, they started interjecting, and they have no clue what they were a race fan of the driver that got dinged for it. It sucked for that guy. But I mean, there's too many things that I don't know. Sometimes I want to hit. I get in and I want to start getting into a Twitter war.
Yeah.
And then there's times that I just, I think I'm not doing nothing wrong, and I hit send, and there's a lot of times I hit delete before I get myself into a Twitter war. I mean, I had a guy just a couple weeks ago just because I didn't go to an outlaw show at Wayne County that got over me. I don't like Wayne County. I didn't have to go. If it was a points race for the All-Stars, I'd have been there. But one of them places I don't like as a driver. As me personally, in my career, I don't have to go to. And this guy, I mean, when it got personal, and it's like, man, I didn't know I was going to get attacked for this. But I got a son that's very keen on Twitter and social media. We found out who he was, and he deleted his whole account. So it was a win for the good guys, and I didn't even have to say nothing.
There you go. But again, it's kind of like it's kind of like everything else, like we just talked about. That's a societal thing because we live in a time period where everybody is all twisted up on social media. So I guess sprint cars is just mirroring the rest of the world then. Yeah, I mean it's social media is the worst and the best thing that ever happened. I mean, if you use it correctly, it could be a great tool to promote yourself, but it's also bad because kids and people are just ate up with it so bad, and they know what's going on in everybody's life at one certain time, and then you got people that just want to be jerks and attack you, and that's why we have so much problems with the younger age kids with depression and suicide and this and that is they're so attached to their phone and social media that they get attacked and they don't know what to do to it. Back in the day when we was kids, we played football. My best friend across the street, we played football. We get in a fight. We got in a fight. Next day we're playing football again. Yeah. It's just the way it is. But the society is so ate up with social media and their cell phones that I'm guilty of it too. I mean, you drive down the road, you got nothing else to do. What do? You sit on your phone. No doubt. Yeah. No, you're right about it. It's fascinating. It really truly is. Paul, bringing it back to your situation, middle-aged sprint car drivers, you all will get to where you're at. Your buddy Joey has gone through it. Darren Pittman's trying to figure out what's going on. You a couple years ago went and horror of horrors got a real job, and come to find out you actually enjoyed your real job. There is an option that you may have limited opportunities going forward. Are you all right with that? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. I've done enough in my life and my career to be happy. And if I understand, I'm not getting any younger. I feel I still got some years left, but I also understand, people want the younger kids and not a 50-year-old middle-aged guy. I mean, the thing you get with me is you get a lot of experience. I don't tear up a lot of stuff, and I still think I can win races. Younger ones, you got to go through the growing pains. So, it just depends on which way an owner wants to go. Some owners want to be that fast, exciting. If we tear it up, we tear it up. No big deal, as long as they're fast and exciting. And some don't want you to tear up their equipment. So it's just one of them deals. And I'm happy where I'm at. I got a great job at Quick Car Racing Products, and if racing stopped, no big deal. I'll put my helmet bag in the corner and still see everybody at the races. You led right to my next question. That job, if you get to the stage where driving a car ends, kind of the beauty of your situation is you are involved in the industry. That has got to be a major blessing and comfort as you go through these waters you're working through.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, like when I in 2017 when I quit being on the Outlaws the full time and started 2018 and with Destiny Motorsports and as a team manager and racing a little bit.
Yeah.
That was my plan. Is just I wanted to be involved with racing, and I was doing bills one day and I saw a Quick Car Racing Products invoice come across my desk, and I looked at it and it said Lebanon, Tennessee. So I Googled where that was at and found out it was only 20 miles from my house. Got talking with a couple other guys and that worked at the mothership at Lane Automotive, and they said, I said, you think there's excuse me.
Yeah.
I said, if there's ever an opening, I need to look for the future. And they sent me down here, and lo and behold, I got a job that works with my racing. And when I'm done racing, I'll still be involved in motorsports, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Sounds good. Really, truly is. Great stuff for sure, Paul. How's Jan? How's the family? Everyone doing all right?
Yeah, everybody's good. My Jan is cancer-free so far for been about 2 years now, so
nice.
That's going in the right direction. And Kylie, my daughter, is she's in her senior year of college at UT, and I think she'll graduate here in May. And Braden, he actually went back to school, so everybody's doing really well and heading in the right directions.
I love it. Love to hear that. That is for sure, Paul. And hopefully the direction you're headed will continue to have you on the racetracks. I love you and respect you and appreciate your opinion, your observations. That's why I dialed you up and wanted to chat with you here today on our podcast. And I appreciate you taking some time away from the job to do that and joining us here today.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show. I don't know if everybody will agree with my opinions, but they're just my opinions.
That's all we got. It's all we got. It's good stuff. It really is. Paul, appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me on the show. Take care.
There we go. Paul McMahon joining on the show. Did I mention respect? I love it. I love his perspective on the world. One of my favorite people. And one of the frustrations of this year, and this is sprint car racing or NASCAR racing or wherever I've gone, is my favorite time. I love broadcasting racing. Okay, and I love doing this podcast and broadcasting, talking sprint cars. Okay, so don't get me wrong, but one of the absolute favorite things that I get the opportunity to do is to walk in pits and talk to drivers, talk to crew chiefs, talk to crew members, see friends, whether it's the NASCAR side or whether it's the sprint car side. And this year has been so frustrating because with NASCAR and our protocols there and with the limitations I've had and put on myself really as far as getting out and traveling a whole lot to see sprint car racing, I miss walking up into the trailer and, hey, Paul, what's going on? And miss those conversations because there's a bunch of guys out there that I really enjoy doing that with. So I appreciate getting the chance to dial them up on the Sage Fruit Hotline and talking with Paul McMahon here today on the program. One of our partners and friends is Aggressive Hydraulics, and they provide hydraulic solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders, agriculture, construction, defense, emergency services, energy, food processing, forestry, marine, railway, and truck equipment. Design and manufacture of mobile-style single-stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders. No one size fits all. If you're in an industry and in a business where you need hydraulic solutions, check out their video at www.aggressivehydraulics.com. That's aggressivehydraulics.com. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment.
Pride. Passion. Performance. We are Team Dryden.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, We have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Wing Nation, presented by Dryden, by DRF Racing Oil, and by Hercules Tires, is rolling along. Ford's F-150 Raptor. You ever seen these things? Oh, my gosh. It's America's favorite high-performance off-road truck. And unlike anything on four wheels you'll see out there today, be it on the dirt road, the dirt track, the road, desert terrain, or everything in between. The Raptor's advanced suspension, comfortable cabin means no territory is untamed and no trip is unattainable. The aluminum body is matted with a 450 horsepower, 510 foot-pound high output twin-turbo EcoBoost engine, resulting in unsurpassed power-to-weight ratio. Ford F-150 Raptor, built Ford tough. Love talking about the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum birthday calendar. Earlier this week would have been Don Martin's birthday. Of course, Don notorious with Lernerville Speedway. Yesterday, Wally Meskowski. Coming up, Norm Witt, Gil Saunders. We talked to Gil Saunders. We talked to Jeff Swindell a couple years ago at Knoxville about Gil, and just learned so much about this iconic team owner, Charles Dutch Branham. Today would have been the birthday of Chris Economaki. I love Chris Economaki. Enjoyed his book and all of the great interactions I had with Chris. And today would have been the birthday of Tom Cherry, a 1997 inductee into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Tom was born in 1911, okay? Like so many, served in the war. After the war, he got involved with racing. He was in the Mutual Racing Association. That was a roadster division, and he was the 1950s champ. As roadsters slowly started to go away, he moved to the midget ranks and the sprint car ranks and had considerable success. He is a four-time Little 500 champ. That was on the racetrack. Off the racetrack, it was Tom Cherry Automotive Engineering in Muncie, Indiana, where he supplied parts and racing gear and knowledge and technology to race car drivers all across North America. Passed away in 1990, but is forever enshrined in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, turn number 2 at Knoxville Raceway. You can get involved with the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. They've got a couple ways. Sprint Car Stuff is their gift shop, is their souvenir shop. You can get there for great holiday gift giving. And Sprint Car Raffle and EMI Speedway, EMI Chassis, Speedway Motors, Race Ready 410 Sprint Cars. Go to sprintcarraffle.com. That's www.sprintcarraffle.com, and that drawing will be on December 18th for the sprint car. So, National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. Busy, I'm going to say a busy weekend coming up, but man, this might be one of the last busy weekends coming up on the sprint car calendar. I'm going to be really following Racing Boys all weekend long because the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour wraps up their abbreviated season down in Mesquite, Texas at the famed Devil's Bowl Speedway. Sam Haferteep Jr. has 7 wins. He's been fairly comfortable. What I find fascinating about this is Roger Crockett second in points, Scott Boguski third in points, Dylan Westbrook fourth in points. All still looking for that first National Tour win of the season, as is Blake Hahn, by the way, which I had to check that 2 or 3 times. So there's a bunch of drivers this week at Devil's Bowl going to be looking at that first win of the season. Harley White is 5th in points. She did pick up a National Tour win earlier this year. So we wish all of our friends with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour well this weekend down in Mesquite, Texas. World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, Friday night, Lakeside Speedway in Kansas City. Saturday night, the Jason Johnson Classic at Lake of the Ozarks Speedway in Eldon, Missouri. Let's see, it is Brad Sweet by 32 points over Logan Schuchart. Donnie Schatz is 68 points back. 5 races remain, and all of the racing from Kansas and Missouri will be on Dirt Vision this weekend. Johnny Key Classic is at Ocean Speedway. The 360 world has been really busy out in California. Not so much this weekend, which means great things for the Johnny Key Classic because I think Ocean Speedway is the only track racing this weekend with 360s. So it ought to be a great field of racers on hand. Huge car count. Lernerville Speedway. Now, okay, you want your snoot full of auto racing? Go to Lernerville this weekend. 12th annual Dirt Cup Roundup, Steel City Stampede, 13 divisions, plus a 100-lap enduro. Heat races on Friday, Last chance qualifiers and features on Saturday. So if you want to get one last big dose of racing, Lernerville's the place to be. And the fabulous Lincoln Speedway, Saturday night, their Night of Champions. This serves twofold: to celebrate the champions and to kick off the countdown to the Icebreaker. So there you go. Lincoln Speedway, the fabulous Lincoln Speedway, the place to be on Saturday night. Miss Heaven, my buddy Erin Evernham here. She is on special assignment. We wish her well as she works through all of those special missions that she's going on out there in the world. Erin is just such a wonderful person. Coming up later this week on our television program, it's if you're north of the border in Canada, it's on Rev TV tonight, Thursday night, and it's on MAV TV on Saturday. Jacob Allen joins us. What a great, great time with a great young man chatting with Jacob Allen. So Ashley Stremme and I have that conversation. We appreciate Paul McMahon taking some time out to join us and getting things sorted out for us here in the sprint car world. Always appreciate Paul's time and his perspective on things. But more important than all of that, thank you for joining us here on Wing Nation, presented by Dryden, by DRF Racing Oils, and by Hercules Tires.